older I get, the more I know myself, the more even like fashion wise, like I look back on, of course, you're young and you have your hot bob, but I look on like fashion choices and I'm like, oh my God, that looked terrible. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? Did I jinx myself saying I'm a cat and I have more than 9 lives, Amanda?
Hi, cocktailers. Well, if you guys are following, here we are Friday on the 21st. The Bravo and Cocktails _ account has been, we don't know, limboed? We'll call it limboed. We're put on pause. It's still there, but B can't access it. So we are using all of our powers that be to get it back. We're not like super stressing about it, but do make sure if we are still down to go to at Bravo and Cocktails _ and shake the phone. Something should pop up. I actually did this too. That says report an issue and say, hey, can we please have this account back? And don't forget to also follow B at the backup, which is at Cocktails and Gossip. That we're kind of just, she's running with and linking to the site as she would normally with Bravo and Cocktails _ And then, of course, we're always here on the pod every week, sometimes twice a week, like this week. And we're also at the website, bravoandcocktails.com.
Yes, Amanda. So, a few people said to me, and on my Instagram, it wasn't working. Now it does. So it must be some sort of update. The shake thing doesn't work for everyone. And the people that it doesn't work for are like, B, I think you're losing it. Like, I'm shaking my phone. Like, in an Uber, I look like a psycho. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work for some people. But for those that do, it does. You shake it, you report a problem, and then it's not that you're reporting me. There are some who, when you shake, it's only negative things. Leave it alone if that's the case. Cancel it. But if there's a place to write, you just write, please restore the account. Listen, Amanda, it's all good. I have to say, I don't know. Okay, so I did jinx myself, but I also don't know if I should be flattered because, I'm the only Bravo account that has this issue. Like, legitimately, the thing that got posted was a link to a story on our website, and the words were officially out. And it was reported for selling illegal goods. Okay, that makes no sense. So, okay.
Like guns and firearms and tobacco and it was about,
I blame Amanda. It was about the edibles from that last pod. No, edibles are illegal.
No, she's kidding.
Okay, wait. So the weird thing, Amanda, is that I'm not locked out. I am in, but I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. We're hopeful that since we're still there and since I'm still in, this is going to be sorted out. That's all I can really say about it. But listen, whoever it is, whether it's a hacker, whether it's people who dislike me for whatever reason, whether it's reality stars who are sick of me spilling the tea, I'm still going to spill it. So always go to the website because no matter where I am, you'll see my post there. And the reality of it is, when I stop doing this, it will be because I choose to, not because someone shuts my Insta account down. That's why I have the website. I took my power and I said, listen, I'm a businesswoman, baby. You want to play? Let's play. So game on. I'm here. I'm not worried about it. Amanda's certainly not worried about it. So let's hop into some Bravo tea.
Yeah, we know the real ones know where to find us. The website has still been running strong. That's why the whole section on the website is called Too Hot for IG, because IG just can't handle the hotness, right?
Right. And I would be remiss to not thank my loyal cocktailers, our loyal cocktailers, and of course my other accounts who are reposting me and helping followers find me. You guys are the MVPs for real, and we appreciate you.
For sure. Okay, so let's get into the tea. So this week has been a bit of a BravoCon, I'm going to call it hangover, because there's still stuff coming in and you're like, not that it's just, it hasn't quite ended. So it's like slight hangover that we kind of keep hearing more and more coming out of BravoCon. So why don't you share some of what you've been hearing, Bea?
Yeah, I'm just going to spit out some stuff and you'll tell me your opinion on this stuff, Amanda. I'm getting a lot of feedback from followers on what their experience was like and what they really liked and what, that kind of stuff, which is always really interesting. And I want to share it because I'm fortunate that, I get those DMs. But for everyone else, it's good for them to know. So one of my followers had a really interesting take on BravoCon, and she pointed out that when tickets were first on sale, they sold out immediately. And then a few weeks, in the last couple weeks leading up, Andy mentioned on Watch What Happens Live and Radio Andy, and also on podcasts he was a guest on, and he kept saying, make sure to get your tickets, which to us, it kind of seems like obviously they released more tickets as BravoCon got closer. So this follower was saying to me, if that's the case, then, because the complaints, people loved it. People loved seeing the talent. They loved the panels. But they complained about the lines, specifically at the bars and the bathrooms. So what this follower is saying is, if you're adding tickets, you should have added more bars. You should have added more bathrooms. People were waiting, they were saying, for upwards of an hour to get a bottle of water or go to the bathroom. My sister-in-law and I actually my sister-in-law, okay, this is a true story. I didn't tell you this, Amanda, flirted with somebody who worked at Javits Center. And we found a secret kitchen bathroom. Even the Bravo Lebs didn't have access to it. So, shout out to my sister-in-law.
I know. I need to meet her. She sounds like she would be just as fun as you are. So, okay. So guys, I go to conferences at places like the Javits Center all the time. Here are a couple of things that are different, right? One is, I would say, 80% at least of the people who are at BravoCon are women. And that means you're going to put twice as much stress on the ladies' rooms. So figure out a way to designate some of the other men's rooms as a ladies' room too. That would have been an easy. I'm sure there were probably women who were just running into the men's room.
There were. Absolutely.
That's what, that feels natural. And then obviously don't attach the bars to where you can also just get, if you want a Diet Coke or you want a water, those should be separate. But I think the other thing is too, is they probably, when I go to conferences and big expos and stuff like that, I'm not drinking the whole time. And so they probably just weren't even expecting, right? They have their normal numbers. And then also I'm betting the reason that they were able to extend tickets is because as they got more and more Bravo talent to sign up and agree to come,
right,
that meant they could have more panels running at the same time, which means they could handle a bigger crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But that cocktailer is 100% right.
Right.
They've got to make sure that all the facilities can keep up.
That absolutely. And the other point she made was they needed to have more security because people, and honestly, I didn't really experience a lot of this, but people said to me that a lot of the lines, there was no consistency and people would walk in front of people or join their friends online and the people behind them would obviously be frustrated. So, that kind of stuff. And remember, the first one was nowhere near as big as this. So I am totally confident that those kinks will be worked out. And then, this is some interesting intel that we got. So somebody shared with me that, they referenced Lisa Rinna and her not selling at the bazaar, which we spoke about on, last week's pod. And they told me that in 2019, Loverboy was available at BravoCon, which I wasn't even aware of because I wasn't there, at the bazaar and at add-on events. So this person was wondering why it wasn't available this year. But Kyle confirmed to this person that the reason there was no Loverboy this year was because he would have had to put up $8 million as a bond because gathering this is some type of insurance coverage. And it was, $8 million. That's obviously a lot of money to swing for a 3-day event. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that would make sense. Generally, there is, whenever you're serving alcohol, there is a much increased level of liability. I think there's just also a lot of weird complexities when it comes to large venues like stadiums and hotels and convention centers. I'll just say I have worked with one of the two big soda companies in my career, as well as a beer company. And when, whether the venue is like a Coca-Cola venue or a Pepsi venue is a really big deal. There's a lot of money, a lot of negotiation, that kind of stuff involved. So it could also be that Javits didn't have a relationship with Loverboy's distributor, so the distributor couldn't help cover, because I would think actually the distributor would help with that. But
Right.
if they don't have the relationship, it's a different distributor, then they probably couldn't. So what Kyle said, I think, or it could be that Javits has an exclusivity agreement with a Loverboy competitor as well. Who knows? But
Well, Bud Light
it
Seltzer.
is too bad.
Bud Light Seltzer was there.
Oh, that's actually, I'll tell you what, that's probably why.
And
because the distributor, yes, that's exactly why.
And I have to say, shout out to Kyle and Amanda and Carl, because Loverboy is far better quality than Bud Light Seltzer. That's like bottom of the barrel for me. I'm a seltzer expert, a hard seltzer expert.
You are a hard seltzer expert.
I love my teas. I'm actually having a glass of red wine because I didn't have time to stop. And that was what was open from last night. I had a nice glass of wine while I watched Winter House. We'll get to that later.
Yes.
And then some other, I like to share the good and the bad. So I'm going to share a really good thing. So a follower reached out to me. A lot of followers reached out to share like how truly kind a lot of the Bravo celebrities are, because people love to remember and point out the negative. So I wanted to highlight some of the positive. So this follower said on Friday, when Shannon Beador got to her booth, she arrived without her own security or booth management. So, guys, if you listen to us, that everybody had a handler and a security. For whatever reason, she wasn't with them, and the booth was mobbed. Pure craziness. And like Shannon legit looked scared. She said that a lot of the people who had been standing calmly there tried to like calm the crowd down and get things in order, but it was like beyond their control. It wasn't working. She said Robin had just got to her booth, which was right next door to Shannon. Robin had come with her own booth management, and Robin was talking to fans, taking photos, being kind, stunning, which we said last pod. And they said Robin graciously and immediately, almost like second nature, asked her booth person to go help Shannon and to take care of the situation. Robin didn't do it to look good in front of us, the follower says, because to be honest, I don't think she realized we even noticed her doing this. But those of us who witnessed both booths saw exactly what she did, and it was truly heartwarming and impressive. It reminded us how normal and wonderful a lot of these Bravo Lebs are. It gave me an added layer of respect for Robin. We need more people like her in the world. So I
have to say something just on that topic, because you were reading this, because I hadn't read this before. I'm like, oh my God, the exact same thing happened to me. Not at BravoCon, but at my kids' school carnival. And I'm sitting up there. I think a couple of the volunteers didn't show up. I always take this one, like where all the initial like tickets and stuff are bought. It's always nuts, right? And I was supposed to have two other volunteers who didn't show up. This other mom was like, do you need help? Because she sees me like frantically trying to like put people's credit cards in and then deal with the cash and like count out the tickets. And she's like, do you need help? I'm like, yes. And she sat right down. So that's Robin, right?
Yes.
She's just like another PTO mom and just a good, decent person who's like, you need help. I'm going to help you. I love that.
I love that. I love that. And like, we're moms. We don't help each other. We won't survive this. Okay. Right. So, and then I heard a lot of people told me not so much nice stuff about one of our favorites. Apparently Phaedra, when she would get to her booth, she would purposely stand backwards facing the wall or sit in a chair facing down towards the floor, turning her body away so that people like wouldn't get a picture or maybe even not notice her. I mean, I have to say, listen, as a fan, I would be like, Phaedra. And if she blew me off, I'd be so upset. It was so overwhelming, Amanda. I was overwhelmed and nobody was like looking at me or noticing, or I was just a spectator. So I can only imagine how overwhelming it was. So I do cut people slack, but it just goes to show you that, everybody's a little different. And then these are just random tidbits. The guy who got hit by Jennifer's drink is also the guy who does PR for Marge and Joe.
No, okay.
Yeah, so he's all in the Jersey mix. I'm sure he's in an alliance too. Oh my gosh, listen to this one. Are you ready for this? This is like,
Always.
and we're going to have to pull this. You ready?
Okay.
Mama Joyce, okay, told a bunch of followers she was so excited to meet Karen Huger. Their rooms were right across from each other, and she's a big fan. Karen saw her, didn't acknowledge her, and just closed the door. BravoCon next year, this beef is going to be at a Watch What Happens Live, and I'm going to be there for this. Can you imagine the way Mama Joyce is going to, I mean, she's going to eat.
I don't know if Karen will live through it.
And I'm sorry, it's impossible that you don't know Candy's mom. I mean, she's on 2 shows. She's on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she's also on, OLG, the restaurant one. And more to the point, if you don't know her, that's even more insulting to the Bravo world. Because why aren't you watching like these other shows? Who always and Atlanta shows Potomac so much love.
Right. Well, I was just gonna say, like, Candy and Mama Joyce walked so Karen could run. Like, and honestly,
I
Karen knows who she is, and she was just that was very uncool.
I want to say it was Candace who said that at a panel or somewhere recently, because I saw a clip where Candace said, let's get one thing straight. They came before us, and they, so they do give credit where, or some of them give credit where credit's due. Miss Huger, we're going to have a chat. We're going to have a little chat because, you're a fan favorite, but these Bravo fans are fickle, boy, and they will turn on you.
I mean, I just say, just give her 10 minutes on stage with Mama Joyce, and then things will handle themselves.
That's one way to humble a person. Okay, wait, I have to point this out. I also love Mama Joyce's delivery. Okay, so it was the dynamic duo Watch What Happens Live, and Andy goes, "Okay, Mama Joyce, you got to give Todd 3 compliments," and she says, "Did you see this?"
No, I haven't seen anything. I have had literally the week from hell. So no, I haven't seen any of this stuff.
Okay, wait for it. Okay, 3 compliments. Okay. He's still short. Candy's like, "Mama, that is like when Candy makes the face, like, you're going to cut this shit out right now." She's like, all right, hold on. He cut his beard a little bit. And then Andy weighs in and he's like, "Mama, these aren't really compliments." And she goes, and then of course she goes, "And he's very nice to his children," which was good. And then she finished it, because of course, listen, guys, they got to give us a show. And then she did finish it out with, him and our relationship has improved and we're getting along a lot better and blah, blah, blah. But the reaction, I mean, literally, I was home watching it because they've been putting the Watch What Happens lives on, on TV this week. Mm-hmm. And when she said he's still short, I screamed. My son was in his room and he's like, Mama, are you okay? I'm like, yes, I'm fine. It's just the housewives. He's like, "You're going to give me a heart attack. You're screaming like that about the housewives?" Because it was just too much. I told you when I get excited, I scream.
She is hilarious.
She's so good.
Oh, God bless her.
And I really sought her out. And Mama, I would not ignore you like Karen did, because I love you. And I love her because she would walk right over and be like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you. But that outfit isn't really doing much for your figure." Like, she would just give it to you. Or if you looked good, listen, I have to say, I would want to get critiqued by Mama Joyce, because whatever she would tell me I needed to improve, I would know. She is not going to be like, "You look great," if you don't look great.
Yeah. Yeah. I have this theory. It totally reminds me. Do you remember when the first time Jessica Simpson, Kim Kardashian, another one too, like both their first pregnancies, they both gained like 100 pounds. And I have this theory that they were just surrounded by people who are like, "Oh yeah, you're supposed to have, like a whole dozen donuts every day and you look amazing and whatever." It's like, you're not, you're only supposed to get, like, I think have like another couple hundred calories. Not that I care.
Right.
Or not that whatever, but I always have this theory of like people just around them being like, "Oh, you look great. Like, keep doing that, and I'm like, Mama Joyce would tell you like it is. And I would way rather hear how it really is.
And that's that could be a whole episode of a pod, because the whole like weight gain and pregnancy, it's like your body's going to do. With my son, who was my first, I went to town. And then with my daughter, I feel like I was more careful because I only planned for 2. And I was like, all right, I'm going to want to bounce back from this. And honestly, I gained the same with both of them. Like, it's kind of like your body does what it does. Although I guess in the case of celebrities, you can have a chef and a trainer and this and that. Like I was more conscious of my meals, but I had the same activity level for both. You know, I still worked out here and there, and I just had like less extra treats with my second.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm not like being critical about pregnancy, because I've been there and I know like, there is no freaking control. I was just using that as an example for like
absolutely
the people around people. Like you need somebody like a Mama Joyce in your life. Everybody does.
Everybody does. My sister-in-law, which you know this because I always tell you like funny things she says, my sister-in-law is my Mama Joyce. And I have to be honest, I get mad at her because she will tell me if I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm putting on weight. She'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, wait, what? She'll be like, not a lot, but like, yeah, from like the summer you put on a couple pounds, but it's normal, it's sweater season. And I'm like, what the F? I mean, you're supposed to say, no, you look great. She's like, you do look great, but you put on a couple LBs. I'm like, fuck you. But it is good because you know what? No one else is going to tell me that. And if somebody doesn't check me, I'll just keep eating the Sundays.
So, ain't nothing wrong with a Sunday.
Ain't nothing wrong with a Sunday. Okay.
I need a Sunday after this week.
This little scoop we got here too from BravoCon, which I haven't heard anybody mention, by the way. So Maya was there day one with Kwame. Now we'll remember Kwame is her ex-fiance who was on Top Chef. So the person was like, maybe not. Now we do know that she was with Oliver for quite some time, I believe during this season of Summer House. So the person said that it isn't that they saw anything romantic. He was carrying, the person didn't see them kiss, but he was carrying her stuff as she was taking pictures and he was there with her. So what does this mean? I would imagine that her and Oliver are no longer together. I'm going to confirm that, right?
I would guess. I mean, I think if Oliver is still in the picture, he probably wouldn't be okay with Kwame being there.
Right. And it's not like he happened to be there because of his Bravo stuff. Oh, okay. Let me take a step back from that. It is possible that he was there because he did a Top Chef thing. With that said, with her like throughout the day and holding her stuff is different than them like, hey, what's up? What's going on? If you have if she was with Oliver, she would now have been seeing him since summer 2021. So you're not going to be spending the day with your ex-fiance. I don't care how cool your boyfriend is. You're not.
Yeah.
Nobody's cool with that. I wouldn't be cool with that. Would you be cool with that?
Right. No, of course not.
So
yeah, that's why I was saying I think you're right.
I think they're probably done, but that doesn't mean that her and Kwame are back together.
No, they could just be friendly.
Cocktailers.
And both be in the Bravo world.
Cocktailers, report back. We need intel on this. Send me a message, everybody.
Yes. Yes. Via the website.
Don't send it to Bravo and Cocktails. I can only imagine what's in that inbox. I
can't read it.
Oh, but don't worry, because when that inbox is unlocked, bam.
Yeah.
God, I'm going to have to hire an assistant to go through
Unleash the hounds.
Oh, last BravoCon episode, what we didn't discuss, did we discuss Lindsay and Danielle? I don't think we did.
We did last, yes.
Did we?
We did.
About Danielle saying that it was unfortunate on the panel? No, I don't think we did.
I know we talked about them.
Okay, well, on the panel, they asked Danielle to describe her relationship, and she said, the only word that comes to mind is unfortunate. And then Lindsay said, same. So they left it there, but in an interview, Danielle said, I feel like we did say this, but whatever, guys, you're going to get repeated 30-second tea. Lindsay said that Danielle said a lot of hurtful things, and it's going to take her a while to process. So Lindsay is, whatever went down, Lindsay isn't taking accountability. At this moment, she sees it as Danielle's fault. And clearly Danielle sees it as her fault.
Yeah.
So,
but it also doesn't sound like it's a blood feud for the ages either. It seems like there's like a crack in the door. So that's a good thing, I think.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's hard to get back to bestie status when you have a fallout like this. It's possible. But,
yeah,
something's
especially
always
when somebody doesn't kind of acknowledge that they had a role in.
Yes,
that's the tough part, I think.
And Danielle's the kind of gal that's going to need to see some accountability.
Yeah,
as
would most people.
Wait, Gina's boyfriend was asked when he would propose, and he had an attitude and said, I don't want to talk about this. Guys, he's still married. Cocktailers know he's still married. Obviously, he's not with his wife. They were separated when they got together. Gina looked incredible.
She did.
And
I mean, you saw her in person, but I just saw the pictures. That like pink velvet one piece, like strapless jumpsuit was adorable, and she looked very thin.
You know what I find so interesting? I think it's so interesting that women, so many of us, like, come into our own as we get older. Like, so many women fear aging. I feel like the older I get, the more I know myself, the more even like fashion wise, like I look back on, of course, you're young and you have your hot bob, but I look on like fashion choices and I'm like, oh my God, that looked terrible. Like, I know my body now. I know my face. I know what makeups and what colors and what outfits, like, and I feel like we're seeing that with Gina. And also, and for those people with young babies, Amanda and I have school age children, and at like Gina's kids age, like, like young school age. And I feel like I know myself. I can only speak for myself. And I saw this in Gina watching the show. You sort of lose yourself in the baby situation because it's so hectic and they're close in age and you're working and all this kind of stuff. And then I know for me, once my daughter was no longer a baby, like when she was a toddler, it was when I got back in the gym, like, real back in the gym and really was able to pay attention to me and that kind of stuff. And I felt, I don't know. For me, I felt like I get myself back more and more as my kids get older. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do this podcast when my kids were younger because I had that working mom guilt, right? And I felt like when I got home, I had to get them for where they were, whether it was their grandparents or daycare, and I had to spend that time with them. And now they don't want to be with me. I mean, they have soccer and basketball and gymnastics and their friends. So I get to have this space for myself.
Yeah, they start to get lives of their own. And I totally agree. I feel like, I don't think I really even like knew how to do my hair until I was in my 30s.
Right.
And just like figuring out kind of what would work for me and kind of what my style was. So I totally agree. And plus, like, I plan to use whatever medical intervention needed to stay younger as I am getting older. So Gina, I think, looked great.
Hard, same. And that is one thing I can tell you. Like, I always hate when people are like, oh, she's had so much work done. Like, just like in normal life. I don't even mean in relation to reality television. It's so hater. Like, to me, if you want to get work done and it looks good, anyone who's saying that is a freaking hater. And I'm not, and you're not at the age where we need anything beyond Botox. But believe you me, when I am, I will.
Oh, hell yeah. I've said this on the podcast before. And I think now I've recruited B to come with me. There will be a time where I go away on a trip and I come back looking very refreshed a couple weeks later.
Right.
And I'll just say I'm going to camp.
That's it. Not like camp like Teresa's camp. Like camp like...
No, I don't want to be thrown into a 6-foot hole. I am talking about full-on euphemism for I will go and I'll say, fuck me up, plastic surgeon. Do your best.
Well, my sister-in-law already have plans because we have a condo in South Florida and that's like the Mecca. And we're not going to who in Miami, but that's the Mecca of, plastic surgery on the East Coast. So I feel like I would go there and then hire a nurse to take care of us in the condo.
I want to go to Sonia's person or Tamra's person
but I have a new person for us because I want.
Oh, you do?
I want to discuss. So Meredith Marks, everybody was like, "Oh my God, her pictures are so filtered." No. I was watching Salt Lake City last night, and her face is flawless. And she's I don't know how old she is. I want to say mid 40s. She may be late 40s. Her face, she's got the skin of a 19-year-old. Who did that to her?
I know. I was noticing the exact same thing. I'm like, her face looks airbrushed.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
It is amazing. I know. I noticed the same thing.
Some of it's so good genes, but she definitely looks younger than she did even when we met her. Not that she ever looked old, but you get my point.
Yes, totally agree.
I think we need to look into the skin tightening.
I'm coming.
Yeah. I'm going to look I'm going to do the research.
With you and your sister-in-law. I'm
You know what it is, Amanda?
Myself.
We have so much time on our hands to research this.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, you guys, you'll see later. We did a deep dive. We're going to do it. But it took some time to research and go through everything. So This is why we need Meredith Marks. So we need Meredith, we need your PI
Please.
to help with the deep dives, and we need your like whatever you're doing, like all of it. All of those. So if you can just call us and give us that would be great.
That would be great. Let's talk Miami quickly.
Yeah.
So we were the first ones that posted that Leah Black was making an appearance. We posted that. I mean, we posted it when they were filming. I don't remember, sometime early summer, late spring. And we saw that in the trailer, which was fire at BravoCon. Makes perfect sense, right? Because Leah's husband's a divorce attorney. Well, I don't know if he's a divorce attorney. He's an attorney. And she's also like the matriarch of those girls. And it's a great tie-in, and people love to see them some Leah Black.
Yeah.
So right now I'm hearing it's just like, you know, a pop in, but who knows? Who knows if it ends up turning into more? Maybe not this season, maybe next. Also, so it looks like Lisa's living in an apartment, and a fancy one. And at BravoCon, she did confirm that Lenny was going to get the house.
Ugh.
Like, I don't know.
And is he still doing this 50-50 bullshit where he thinks he's going to be able to take care of the kids 50% of the time?
I don't know that. You know, Amanda, I'd feel better if he sold the house. Right? Like, yeah. Okay, my first choice would be her to raise the kids in the house. My second choice would be him to sell the house and then both to have separate properties. But him staying in the house, I mean, I know it's legal. I understand that. There's just some things that feel icky, and it feels icky. But it's not surprising from him.
Agreed.
Happy news. Dr. Nicole, you know how I love Dr. Nicole. I mean, yes. She's so cute. She's so cute in person, and she's such like a little itty bitty thing. She isn't wedding planning yet because you'll remember they had got like a record price for their house. And oh God, I'm going to forget. I think it was Jeff Bezos' parents or somebody like that. Like, I think Bezos. I'm almost positive, or maybe it was him. It was I don't know. I want to say 35 million or 65. Guys, I have to research it. Everything with me is off the cuff. I'm not the deep diver. But so the reason they had this big engagement party, which we're going to see this season, they had like those dancers in like the metal circles. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like
Pink,
like Pink does. And
like go-go dancers.
No, but more.
Like the trapeze kind of thing.
Yes,
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
And it looks like a wedding, but it was an engagement party. And what she said was, so apparently someone like offered them, Bezos or whoever it was, offered them this amount of money, and they were like, let's go. So she said that they're settling into their new home and they're going to plan the wedding. I mean, come on. Who are you kidding? You want your wedding filmed. I love her, but come on. You want your wedding filmed. So you're waiting until it's filming time again. And for that, I say, thank you, Dr. Nicole.
Yes. I mean, we'll take more. Both an amazing engagement party and an amazing wedding. Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, God. David and Leslie. I have to update, though, because we find them comical and our followers do, too.
They do.
There's always like these niche people that aren't relevant, but somehow like cocktailers can't help but pick fun at them. I feel like David and Leslie are the new Jacks.
Yes.
They're buying some fancy house. I completely forget where, but maybe it was Salt Lake City. Oh, I think it was Salt Lake City. I think you told me that. And
okay, well, we saw that they were in Park City. So that's where I was guessing. I don't know if we heard I don't know if we heard where they're buying the house, but we saw they were in Park City.
Oh my gosh, I wish I would have paid more attention at the time, because we know that Salt Lake City is currently casting, and we know that Leslie wants to get on a Housewives show.
Oh my God. This is exactly what I was thinking. This is her theory. This is my theory. She's going for Salt Lake because we know that there's an empty spot on the cast.
Oh, you heard it here first. This is a theory. This is obviously not checked at all.
No.
Bravo loves mess, and they know that we would love it. I can totally see this happening.
I could totally see it happening too. And maybe that's why.
And maybe the divorce was to make a splashy headline to get attention, because they legitimately, I follow the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City casting, which also is the new Roni casting. And they just were posting fill out your survey, send this, because we're final days, da-da-da-da. So that almost makes the divorce make sense. Maybe the divorce is total bullshit just to be a relevant person.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I think it makes sense because I don't think she would ever be on OC.
Mm-mm.
So, and we know that she is dying for the spotlight, right? Because she's constantly reaching out to try to tell her side of the story
Is it bad
to
that I
lots of.
is it bad that I want her to be on?
I just want to see, like, I do want to kind of see a little bit more of what, of what she's like.
I think her and Whitney would clash in a way that would be fantastic. Two
Yeah.
annoying people. This person said that she said, I have many friends who work at Fashion Island in Newport. Everyone in the store can't stand her. She's entitled. She thinks because she
Yeah.
married money, she should have special treatment. She's like, maybe in a small town, but in Newport, everyone has money. So better luck next time.
Hmm. Okay, so we have been talking so much, I feel like, about New York for the last few months. Did you see Ramona's Instagram post with like the video of all the women, and it was put to Moon River, and then it had the Carrie Bradshaw like voiceover? Did you see that?
Cried.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps.
Like, I was like, oh. I mean, for Bravo fans, this franchise, they all have their own place. But for us, like Roni it's so iconic, and that's why they're
Yes.
trying so hard to do. And I'm confident. I've been following these ladies on Instagram, and I'm confident it's going to be good. But it's never going to be what it was, and you can't. It's the same as Sex in the City. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago. Like, you have to appreciate things for what they are, right? They're
Yeah.
never going to be, as Harry Styles says, it's not the same as it was. So I did get some interesting stuff on the legacy. My source says that, we're all assuming it's Luann, Sonia, and Dorinda because of BravoCon. He said she was coming off pause, which isn't exactly a confirmation, but we're assuming. But what my source is saying, he's hearing it's going to be on Peacock and not even Bravo. He feels like they're basically phasing them out. I guess that's also dependent on the success of Reboot. The other thing is the new contracts that he heard were being offered are much lower, like going from $1 million a season to like $200K. So he thinks some of them are going to reject it. And maybe, and I don't know, but maybe Ramona rejected it. Maybe it wasn't that they didn't want her. Maybe she was like 100 to 200,000. Adios. He hears that he thinks Kelly Ben-Simone would do it.
Yeah. The very skeptical part of me wonders if this was kind of always about money, right? And if it was about, people say that's part of why Vicky was let go too, is because of money. So I just have to wonder if it's a little bit about that, and then part of the reason they go to Bravo or go to Peacock, that's another reason they can say, we've got to give you a lesser salary, but we also know that doesn't mean it won't eventually end up on Bravo. So the skeptical part of me just wonders it's partially about money.
Right. I agree. I think I can see the money aspect, but I also think, listen, if they were hitting it out of the park, they'd pay the money. They weren't getting the numbers they needed to justify the money. And at the end of the day, it's always a business. As fans, we like to look at things from a sentimental place. Right. They're not looking at it like that. They want to know what's going to make them money.
Well, and we know too from other tea that I think is very credible that's come in. That's one of the things that Bravo's looking for, is people who have something to sell that they can enact the Bethany clause and make a percentage of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we're seeing that with the new cast of New York. Oh my gosh. But by the way, before we talk about the new cast, the email tip that we got saying that the Legacy New York show would be called either The Golden Housewives New York or New York Forever. I don't know why, but hearing The Golden Housewives made me feel old.
Okay, so there is no way that's going to go. Sonia Morgan is not going with that. Although she is the Blanche of the Golden Girls.
I do love the Golden Girls, but it's just the Golden Girls.
Do you know what's incredible? The Golden Girls were probably their age.
Yeah.
It's just the difference between the way that we women present ourselves today versus in the 80s. I don't know. They were, I mean, I'm not going to Google it right now, but I know it to be true. They may even be younger than some of them.
Well, I also think that like that's why when we all go down to Florida to get our plastic surgery, we just can't live in the condo together for too long because that clearly ages you.
Oh my God. Yeah. We'll have to just do clips here and there.
Yeah.
No long stretches. Okay. So speaking of the reboot, there's already some drama. A TikTok went viral. It was this young woman saying that, oh, you heard about the Roni reboot. Well, one of them didn't pay me at my first job. A source tells me they're talking about Erin, the real estate broker. Guys, this is alleged. This is rumors. I don't know this to be true. Others say that it was Erin, but it was an internship. Apparently, it was a paid internship. They say it wasn't a paid internship. Whatever the case may be, what it reminded me and what it made me excited for, you guys, is that when housewives are new, we learn all their dirty little secrets. It all gets revealed. It's all exciting. I mean, in this day and age where Instagram influencers curate everything and make us all envious, we can always count on a new housewife show to bring us back to reality.
Yeah.
Like, the cameras are not going to allow that to happen. Bravo loves mess. And I love these women for putting their necks out there to put it out there. But we're going to get to know the real Hans. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I mean, these women have huge shoes to fill, but I think they can do it. They seem like each of them stands, very tall on their own. So I think it's going to be really interesting.
And in that vein, bravoandcocktails.com posted a blind about a housewife doing TikToks about makeup. Now she responded and said she's creating, and we said, she's not doing, well, what the person told us and we posted was that she's not doing this for nothing. She's creating a beauty line. This was a few months ago. At the time, she denied it because word gets out. And we know it takes a long time before these things are solidified. So you're not going to want to announce it before. I never believed this was some random eccentric hobby she picked up trying out all these different beauty products. So
doing it as a service for us to show us the better drugstore product versus La Mer.
And I'm here for it and I'll buy it and it's all good. And I get why she didn't tell us, but check in the cocktail win box. Okay.
I totally agree. So did you watch Potomac this week?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I just have to bring up the shadiness of the ladies and the editors, which Potomac, I feel like one of the best characters on the show is the editors. I'm calling out Karen. So, she said that it was spring fling, celebration of life, and taco party. But I'm like, wait. And so then all the girls kept saying it. And I'm like, oh, she was trying to have a Cinco de Mayo tacos and tequila party, but somebody made her change it. So then they kept calling it out. I was laughing about that one.
Oh my God. Guys, I'm just going to real life you right now. I'm texting my husband not to forget to get my daughter. So sorry, I lost my train of thought, Amanda. Excuse me.
Okay, so Potomac.
No, I was listening. I was listening to you. I just couldn't articulate my thought until I got that out.
I hear you.
Agree about the
Guys,
shade.
we're moms.
Right.
This is the shit we all have to do.
Right. Listen, until I can afford that live-in help that we spoke about a couple weeks ago. I love the shade of the editors. Love it. I love Potomac being back. I always say it wrong. Potomac, whatever it is. Guys, none of us heard about this town until a couple of years ago. I got to say this. Giselle is a mess. And, I typically enjoy her mess. And I know we can all agree that Candace can be a lot. However, Giselle insinuating that Chris is a man who tries to hook up with her friends is really low. I mean, so low. Even Robin tried to shut her down. Robin was like, Giselle, he's trying for her to be solid in the group and build friendships. Also, which she couldn't break the fourth wall. Him telling you or Ashley to go is just him promoting his rooftop.
Yeah.
Because you guys are on a reality show. And the fact that Giselle, first of all, the viewers are not stupid. I now am very curious about who sent that blind into me. I'm just saying all that to say, come on. It was totally innocuous. All of the situations she named, even Robin said it. I don't like that. I really, really don't like that.
we've all been hit on inappropriately, and and that is not an inappropriate. I agree. I was looking at the screen at the text exchange or the DM exchange, and I'm like, no, that's not an inappropriate
Especially knowing
thing at
that these
all.
are famous women who, if they're there, whoever sees them is going to say, oh my God, Ashley and Giselle were at the rooftop. I know if I lived in that town, I would keep going there hoping to see them.
Right.
That's all
Of
he was
course.
doing. Like, he never said anything sexual. He never put his hands or what is she talking about? And Candace's reaction, she's like, what we're not going to do. And then, of course, she had to throw Michael Darby under the bus. And Ashley's just like, what the hell did I got to do with this?
I don't know, mountain out of a molehill, I think. Do we know anything about Mia's health status as of like today?
She didn't mention it at all at BravoCon.
Hmm.
So I assume she's okay. God willing, she's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's a strange thing because I feel like if you're afraid that you might have cancer, the last thing you would do in the freaking world is put words to that and speak those words out loud on social media.
Absolutely.
I just think I think it's extremely strange and very questionable. And what's the deal with Katie just popping in real quick to squeeze Ray's butt? Like, have we been hearing? I don't think I've seen anything else about her coming in, at least on the Tea on the Site, about being on the show.
I think that she is not in a place where it would be a good decision for Bravo to put her on television.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she did film some stuff. I think it didn't make,
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
We also, Monique and Chris announced they were separating during BravoCon.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk about this last week. I don't think it's a stunt.
No, it's not.
I think they just weren't ready to tell the world.
Yeah.
Or they've changed their minds and they're just trying to reconcile.
They're saying they're living separately, and I think it'll be announced, but
yeah, they just weren't ready, maybe.
Right.
Okay, so I texted you about this because I didn't think you had seen this at your panel. I don't remember which panel they showed it, but I happened to see this on social media. The trailer for Ultimate Girls Trip 3.
So
that
good.
Was played at BravoCon. So you see it on social. I'll try to post. Hopefully, we'll have like a better one. But this is literally somebody took this with their phone and posted it on social. I laughed so hard watching this. I think it's going to be so good.
The guy who is like their concierge or whatever, their butler,
Pepsi the butler.
I mean. He is an instant star and he doesn't even know. He doesn't know what he's in for. He is the memes that we're gonna get from this guy.
Oh
I don't like them.
I don't like them.
They're mean ladies. I
like it better when they're gone.
They speak very unkind words about each other. Like I was rolling. I love him. He's already my favorite.
I know. He's so funny.
It looks incredible. I was really happy to see Leah's clips. I had a lot of sympathy for her second season. She came, she like shot out of a cannon. Everyone loved her. We were all sitting home and COVID, I guess. And we were like, she's great. And then second season, we were like, who is this? We don't like her. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to get some love. And we always say these Bravo fans, man, whichever way the wind blows, myself included. I know I left BravoCon liking people who I saw on panels that I previously was like, so we're all fickle. I think it looks amazing. It's an amazing cast.
Yes. I think the cast is awesome. I'm very curious to see how the whole Heather Whitney thing goes. Like Leah saying Heather wants her to relapse for her entertainment. Like, and then the yacht, when she's on the yacht and she's like, you guys gave me my period. Thanks a lot. Does anybody have a tampon?
Yes. That was so good. That was so good.
God, I took some notes because I was like, this is so funny. So Candace called Portia, she'll take a man.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yes. I was like, wait, I had to rewind it and I'm like, oh my God, like that is just full on like war. And then
no lies detected.
Yeah. Well, apparently Leah and Portia get in that fight. And so Leah's like, Portia, bye. And then Leah, bye. Portia, bye.
Yes.
Leah, bye. I'm like, oh my God, can you even imagine sitting at that table? So funny. I mean, we are in for it with this show, and I can't wait.
We need it. We need it.
Okay, so Jersey, I feel like, there's just been a lot bubbling with that, with the whole fight and everything last week. And we saw Caroline Manzo at BravoCon in pictures. So we got an email about it. So let me read it. From Thick as Thieves. Subject, why won't she return? New housewife Danielle and Caroline Manzo have family ties. Danielle's stepsister is Caroline's niece. Candace, who she's the one who brought the book to the salon first season. Caroline wants to go head to head with Teresa, but Danielle will be 1000% team Teresa. Caroline was asked at Bravo on BravoCon, and she said she won't return. Is that the reason why? Candace has also answered Q&A about Danielle, saying Danielle wanted to be a housewife for a long time.
Okay, so first of all, Amanda, we knew about the relationship. We knew that there was a Manzo relation.
Connection.
It's actually a Lorita, so it's Caroline's side. We knew that. I posted about it. Here's the thing. Number one, Candace and Danielle is the new housewife. Candace is the Manzo cousin. Their parents got married when they were already adults. So this isn't like it's a stepsister that she grew up with, right?
Yeah.
So
had family, like, holidays growing up with. Yeah.
So she does not know the Manzos well. Not that they haven't met. Of course they've met and they're acquainted, but they're hardly friends, is what I gather, like, based on what I know. They're not super tight. Also, I believe what Caroline says when she says, show me the money. She has been very clear. You give me the... Whatever she's asking for, she feels she's worth it. She said it many times publicly. And if she gets her number, she will come back on. And I, for sure, don't think that Caroline is intimidated by some 36-year-old step-niece. You know what I'm saying?
I 100%
And I also
agree.
think that Danielle would be able to be friends with Teresa. I mean, this is Housewives. Be friends with Teresa while also maintaining her respectful acquaintanceship with Caroline. It's not like this is her aunt who she was at her house eating meatballs with every Sunday. She met this woman when she was an adult, and it's Candace's aunt. It's not her mother. You know what I mean? It's not a close relationship. It's not a long relationship. It's a newer adult acquaintanceship. Yes. It's like an in-law.
I don't think there's any smoke or any fire on that one.
I disagree with that email. I appreciate you sending it, but nope.
Yes. Okay, so Salt Lake City, what did you think of this week's episode?
I mean, you know what I'm going to say. Whitney is so fake, so phony. I don't know what her deal is. Going over the top about Heather lying. Heather didn't hear it. Enough. Whitney is trying so hard, in my opinion, to be a breakout star, to have a story. It irritates me. I'm not on board with it. I'm Team Heather. Whitney's acting when they were out to eat, and Heather's like, I said I didn't hear it. Like, what are you talking about? And Heather even said, stop trying to make this about you. And what she means is stop trying to create a storyline about bullshit. This is what confused me, Amanda. When you turn to Lisa's confessional, Lisa says, Heather's missing a sensitivity chip because Whitney's going through a lot. Like, excuse me, Lisa, Heather's actually helping you by saying she didn't hear this rumor. So, yeah, I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I have a slightly different perspective on this because I was watching it and I agree. I think there's a lot with Whitney that is just not making sense. However, I do think Whitney has been and probably was the puppet, right? And the one who's like, we'll have Whitney say it. And I think it was pretty clear what Meredith was doing when she went over to Whitney's house for the first time ever.
Right.
And throws out this rumor, right? So putting aside the abuse situation, which is just her, let's just put that aside, right? I actually think this fight actually had nothing to do with that. I think it was because Heather was pissed, right? Because Whitney got drunk, went rogue, and told everybody that she was tired of being the puppet. Whether or not Heather had told her to say anything or any of that, she's like, whoa, you're going off script here, essentially. I think she's mad about that and for making Heather look like the puppet master, which, by the way, why wasn't Meredith getting the heat for that? Because Meredith's the one that we saw go over there and plant this rumor with Whitney.
Yeah.
And Heather was also like, come on, like, let's be realistic here. You know, Lisa's not giving away blowies for courtside seats at the Jazz, right?
And I think this is what we always like start to see, right? This is what we start to see a couple seasons in. We start to see the tomfoolery, and then we watch it there. We watch the alliances and the planned storylines fall apart. And because we're seasoned viewers, we know exactly what's happening. And I personally get annoyed by it. And Whitney's not pulling it off for me. They also, so then they go from that to like, oh, and I also find it weird how like Lisa and Meredith are now just like sitting in front of a fireplace smiling at each other, but whatever. Again, man, these people are on TV. So.
And they're like prison jumpsuit jammies, by the way. I texted you, I was like, is this just my bad color TV in my like kitchen? But don't these look like prison jumpsuits?
Sure do. But quickly, because I know we have to get to your deep dive.
Yes.
When they say that Jen can departmentalize, I want to like tap my screen and be like, guys, you shouldn't be able to shut off the fact that you have a federal trial coming up, a trial where 2% of the population is innocent and 98% is convicted. Meredith playing like, oh, coy about it. You're a lawyer. You know what's happening. They all knew she was guilty. So whoever turned on her after the fact is phony as fuck. Because at least Heather knew she was guilty and wrote it out. They all know she's guilty. There's a 2% chance she's not.
Yeah, I do think, obviously, Jen can clearly compartmentalize because now that we know what we do, which is that she has admitted to doing some awful things under oath in court, which means she did them, most people would be racked with guilt.
Right.
Like they could not live that way.
Right.
So, of course, she can compartmentalize. Okay, so let's talk about
dive in.
Naomi. So news broke yesterday. I'm surprised it didn't break sooner because
we posted Naomi the first week of September.
Well, yes, we did.
And we actually received it much earlier than that.
Yes. So there was a court case. There was a lawsuit filed against Naomi from Southern Charm. She got sued for fraud regarding the online clothing store that she started with allegedly a partner. So we've been getting a bunch of tea about this, but since there hadn't been anything filed, we just we didn't talk about it much. But now that the case has been filed and is being reported on, we figured it was time to go and do a deep dive. So I actually went and got the lawsuit. Well, let's talk about it first, because then I was thinking you could read some of the tea we've gotten and we can kind of chat about it. So I went on to the court and got the document and read through it. It's a 23-page lawsuit. Naomi's former business partner, Virginia Ginny Cox, we're going to just call her Ginny, is suing Naomi for fraud and breach of contract after she was allegedly kicked out of their fashion company, LeBay. I looked it up. It's LeBay. I don't know.
I always wondered how you say that because on Insta I see it. I'm like,
yeah,
Abi. Well, she's French, right? So it's probably
she's French. I put in literally how do you say this word in French on Google. So it's LeBay. Okay, so the suit was actually filed on the 19th of September, which is why I'm surprised we're, hearing about it now.
We posted on September 4th,
September 4th. Yes, we did. So it claims that Naomi used deceptive tactics in order to maintain control of the business, that she misappropriated funds and kept Ginny from landing a new job after they parted ways. So long story short, and I remember Naomi even saying this, I can't remember if it was on social or if it was on the show, but she had this partner, Ginny, and so the lawsuit says she approached Ginny to be a 50% co-owner because of Ginny's background in fashion and fashion buying. But before that, Ginny had never owned a business and did not have experience with the financing, accounting, or legal aspects of business ownership. But Naomi had multiple sides of the business, so it kind of made sense. They decided, Ginny's going to do a lot of the fashion and the buying and that kind of stuff. and Naomi is going to do the business and finances, that sort of thing. But this is where it gets interesting. So, according to the lawsuit, Naomi said she would have her lawyer draft up the LLC. And when Naomi and Ginny went to LA on a buying trip, Naomi's attorney filed the articles of organization with the South Carolina Secretary of State, who officially formed the LLC. Then when they got back, Ginny showed Naomi a lot of the ropes, right, of how to run a retail clothing business, including getting a tax ID and seller's permit for wholesale, because that's how the fashion business works, right? You buy stuff at wholesale,
Right.
you usually mark it up by 100%. So take it times, twice times what you bought it for, and then sell it. She also showed Naomi how to set up and manage a Shopify website.
Right.
We're going to get back to why Shopify is interesting in a minute. So Naomi also got a $50,000 loan from her dad for startup capital. And after they got the money, both Naomi and Ginny went to the bank to open up a bank account. But at the bank, Naomi told Ginny she could not include Ginny on the bank account because Naomi owed her father the money.
I'm inserting myself here to say it is at this point that Ginny should have gotten writing that they were business partners.
I agree. I mean, I have all kinds of things to say. So Naomi then, the lawsuit said, frequently used the loan as a reason why profits couldn't be given to Ginny. In line 19, we find out that Naomi had told her attorney, remember when he went to go set everything up while they were in LA, she told the attorney to set up the LLC with Naomi as the sole member and owner. So when you have an LLC, there are two different kinds. There's multiple different kinds, but a sole owner LLC is very different than an LLC that with partners. Like you file them legally different.
Right.
So that says to me,
was Ginny aware of that?
Well, no, because I don't think she probably knew. And this is why cocktailers, guys, like, you got to look and you got to know what your operating agreement said. You have to have an operating agreement. I mean, I'm not giving legal advice. Please don't take it as that. But just there's a couple things when starting a business. If you really are a true partner, you should be able to see the books. You should be on the bank account. You should, be part of understanding how your business is legally formed. I mean, there's all this kind of stuff.
Well, what I want to say to that, and I know there's more to it, but I want to pop in here because, goldfish memory. And when people say don't go into business with your friends, it's not that you can't go into business with your friends. It's that you can't not treat it as if you're going into business with a stranger where the meat and potatoes is concerned. Okay.
Yep.
If me and my best friend decide to open a shop, I'm not just going to be like, all right, girl, you go to the bank, you go to the LL. Like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to have my attorney read the documents. Both of our names are going to be on it. These are things that you can't overlook. Me as a person, I would always do what I say I'm going to do. But if it's not legally binding.
Yes. And I agree with you 100%. I think where Ginny was probably, so I think it's definitely some inexperience. But Naomi publicly said, we are equal owners. And so I think Ginny took word I think it's the money investment that probably clouded everything. And so I looked up LeBay on the Secretary of State. It doesn't give Naomi's name as the agent, but that's pretty normal. So Ginny says in the lawsuit, she has no knowledge of the way the LLC was set up and that she was not listed on the documents, but that both of them, including Naomi, sent texts to mutual friends saying there were partners and co-owners. So again, very publicly and telling people. This is, I think, very compelling evidence that Ginny would not be mentioning, in the lawsuit. So guys, like I literally went through the entire lawsuit and I've read a lot of the articles. We're talking about a lot of stuff that the articles are not covering, just so you guys know.
But here's the thing to that, Amanda.
Yes.
You have those text messages, but what we don't have is maybe the text message or the verbal conversation, because reality is they'll be treated the same, saying, you know what, you're not on it. And I'm doing the LLC and the bank account by myself. Right? So it's like I could text and say anything, and then a week later, whatever I file legally is what binds.
Yes, but if you are having somebody work for nothing and saying that you will be giving them 50% of the
Right.
profit
Okay.
of the business,
Okay.
then she has I absolutely grounds for the fraud claim. I think who knows about the breach of contract? I
Right.
think that's a cloudier one, but 100% on fraud, especially with Naomi going out and saying not just there, but also in a couple of different podcasts that they are partners.
Right.
So
Oh, okay.
So Ginny then, after the business had been going for a few months, says, I need to draw a salary. Like, I'm spending most of my time here. Like, I need money to live. Naomi tells Ginny to quit her job, her part-time job.
Oh, snap.
At another place, and says, spend more time here working on the business. My new season of Southern Charm is about to start. And, we'll give you a salary. I will take an equal salary, but probably just in a lump sum later. But maybe I won't even do it because if I end up spending more of my time filming, then I won't even do it. So then the business starts to do well. And the reason I know that Ginny, it doesn't say this, but I know how Shopify works. And if you're in Shopify, you can see what your revenue is, right? So, and Ginny is the one who set up the Shopify, all of that. So she can see there's no reason to think that she can't extrapolate what the business profits are, right? Because your overall revenue is not the same as your profit. You have expenses, you're buying this clothing at a wholesale price, but Ginny could still know roughly, okay, if we're making $1 million and we spent, 300, then that's a lot of profit. I'm totally throwing those numbers out there. So the lawsuit also says, because Ginny couldn't see the bank account, she couldn't see that Naomi was taking substantial money, some sums of money out for her personal expenses. And we actually have some tea on that Bee's going to read in a second. So another interesting thing, Ginny started to get frustrated, and then they started, because she wasn't making the money, they started to discuss separating and buying out each other's interests in the business.
Okay.
Then on May 19th, 2022, Naomi, quote unquote, terminated Ginny from everything with LeBay and said that she was no longer an employee and never had an ownership agreement.
Wow.
So in the lawsuit, the last piece of it is kind of like, here's what we're asking for. So she's asking for damages in addition to her 50% of the business value, or a legal order and stating her as a 50% owner. She's also seeking damages on top of that because she's saying, Naomi committed fraud. And, she's also saying that Naomi lied as Ginny was trying to get other jobs, went to these other clothing store operators so that Ginny couldn't get a job. So the other thing you guys should know, this is a civil suit. So even though you hear the word fraud, this is essentially Ginny suing Naomi.
It's just about the dollar bills. Then nobody's doing jail time.
Right. Unless the state decides to do something, which, depending on how egregious and how big the evidence is, they could.
Wow.
But Ginny is asking for a trial by jury, which that tells me too, there's got to be some pretty good evidence here. So my thoughts, just case alone, not with the tea that Bee is about to read. Bee, you already said it. But, if somebody's never started a business before, they might not know, if you're a business owner under an LLC, you have to do an operating agreement. When you open a bank account, the bank will say all parties listed on the operating agreement as partners or members must be present and sign the paperwork together, so that there can't be any shadiness with people lucking each other out of the bank account. I'm betting they didn't have an operating agreement. Why Ginny didn't ask to be on the bank account and see the books, I wish she had, gone to somebody with some legal knowledge, even Craig, who knows?
Don't throw Craig in the mess.
Sorry, Craig. So usually, yes, a loan repayment does take priority when it comes to taking profit out of the business.
Right.
And we definitely don't know what interest the loan was at. But
wait, wasn't it a loan from her dad?
It was a loan from her dad.
Okay, for
So it could have been
$50,000, and Ginny saying it became a multi-million. So that loan's paid off.
exactly. And so that's where Jenny was like, okay, and even at if it was 100% interest, we still should have been.
What happened here
fine.
was Ginny felt like, okay, her dad gave her the loan, so I'm going to let it go, and she shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because she was like, well, my sweat equity isn't as much as the money equity, which is
Bullshit.
probably not true. Yeah. So if there is written proof that the intent was to make the partnership 50-50, which I'm betting it's not just text other people. I'm betting there are emails between them as well.
I mean, maybe
And
not
there's the
emails
podcasts.
though, because you don't email each other. I don't email. You know what I'm saying? Unless you have a binding contract. I mean, maybe. Let's see.
I would imagine there's some pretty damning evidence here. So I think based on the allegations alone, this is not looking great for Naomi. If Ginny has the proof that she says she does in the document.
So here's what I want to say before I read what we posted a while ago on September 4th. What I want to say is Naomi knew this lawsuit was coming. She's back in the public eye. If you're making multi-millions, buy this girl out, shut her up. I mean,
I think that's what'll happen.
Even if somehow you don't have the money liquid, put her on a plan, say, listen, for X amount of months or years, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars a month. And this is my business, but I'm going to give you what, come on, value the business at whatever. And to make it get this messy, I think on the face of it, Naomi looks very guilty. Having said that, the fact that this lawsuit is out makes me believe maybe Naomi's being misrepresented. Because remember, this is Ginny's try, right? This is her try. We haven't seen what Naomi comes back with. And it's hard to believe when faced with everything we've read that Naomi wouldn't just do a buyout situation. So she's allowing this to go public without a buy, unless Ginny's buyout became very greedy and Naomi was like, take me to court because it'll be less for me to pay.
Well, I think so. Yes, I think that totally could be. And you guys, B is exactly right. We only see one side of this lawsuit. However,
also we're lawyers now.
Well, yeah, I know, clearly. Me and my, as you said, WebMD legal degree. But I think what could have happened too, it's extremely expensive to go through a lawsuit. To even just get to this point of filing. It's so expensive. And so I wonder if Naomi was like, I'm just going to call her bluff and just see if she's really, she was threatening. And like, I think she was probably like, I don't know if she's really going to do it.
Very good point. Very good point. To all of you who say me and Amanda don't agree, we always have different points of views. We just don't yell at each other about it. Or she doesn't yell at me. Maybe I yell at her.
You don't yell at me. No.
All right. So
we get overexcited sometimes.
Yes.
But nobody's yelling at anybody.
All right. So these are both from September 4th. And when this flooded in, I'll be honest, I was like, I haven't really heard about this. This was before anybody was talking about it. And then when I started to, I got stuff before September. I got stuff around the spring, which is when this all went down. And I was like, nobody is talking about this. I'm not going out on this limb. And guess what? I should have. Okay, so September 4th, what's in the water in Charleston? Good authority that one of the cast members who runs an online clothing company basically screwed over their business partner. This castmate essentially tried to ice out their business partner, change the locks without telling, put cameras in their office without telling. Although the star had given multiple interviews stating this person was their business partner, they had never had a formal business agreement. So the partner decided to file a lawsuit against said castmate. Next T. Luxury car. Anonymous also heard she put her ex-boyfriend's luxury car on the business card without letting the partner know. From October 7th, Petty Little Bravo B. I was at the Southern Charm finale. The event was at least 4 hours long. There's a lot of other stuff we cut out, by the way, because it wasn't about this. I didn't see Naomi much. She seems to be laying low in town recently. I think it's because everyone knows she screwed over her business partner / best friend. From what I've heard, she will be toast when the court documents go public. If I were her, I'd be moving out of town very soon because she's about to have 0 friends left. My first thought is, wow, that this came out after BravoCon, and how did Naomi make that happen? I don't know.
I think she just got lucky. I'm shocked, honestly, that it didn't come out sooner. Like, on September 19th when it was filed. But again, it just tells me that this Ginny person's kind of inexperienced and didn't realize what big news this would be. And all she would have had to do is, send it to somebody like us or anybody, Page Six or anybody, and it would have become immediate news.
But can I ask you a question, Amanda? Because
Yes.
again, what we read, it's not that Amanda's on Ginny's side and I'm on Naomi's side. It's
Right.
that Amanda just read the piece that was from Ginny. So
Yes.
my question for you is, I'm opening a business with my girl. I'm putting all the capital in. Why am I making her a 50% partner?
But here's the thing, like if it was a loan, like if the dad loaned Naomi the money and then Naomi, I have the exact same thought, because if then Naomi lent the business the money, then generally she could say, okay, well, this is going to get me clout unless Ginny, you can come up with the same amount of money. But who knows? They could have had
But yes, there are texts saying we're partners. But we're partners doesn't mean 50-50. We're partners could mean 80-20. We're partners could mean, you know what I'm saying? So it could be, and I don't know this girl Ginny from a can of paint. I'm saying the expectation when you start a business, and Amanda and I know this quite well with our Bravo and Cocktails. I certainly never expected us to have a website that gets 4 million clicks a month. But what we did at the very start was we signed a contract, because you know what?
Yeah.
If we made $0 or $800 million, we wanted to know how everything was going to be handled.
Yeah.
With that said, you can't tell me that, I don't know. I want to see how this plays out, because I find it astonishing if it was said in any capacity that that they were 50-50 partners as far as the return. Okay. So we're in this together. Isn't you get half the money, I get half the money.
I agree. I think.
And could it be that initially Naomi said that, and then the thing had so much success and she was kind of like, you know what? I'm the one who had the money. I'm the one who started this. Like, in other words, it would be like as if you made this website for me and we didn't have a contract and you were just helping me out. And then it blew up and you were like, listen, ultimately it's my website. Yeah. I built it for you. And unfortunately, you didn't sign a contract. And so then I was out on my ass. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it is quite possible that Naomi took advantage, but knowing that she was going to file the lawsuit, I get your claim calling her bluff, but I don't know. Why not just buy? I don't know. I'm very conflicted.
I think it'll be interesting to see what comes out. I think having read the document, right, the lawsuit, like there is evidence. So I think the 50-50 thing is very clear, because I think that's what she's got to have evidence to back that up. Because if it was any other number,
right, then
they wouldn't have put 50-50 in the actual document. They would have said partners and partnership or something else without a number.
Right. In other words, the lawyers wouldn't have done that.
Right.
Well, depending on the credibility of it. Not all lawyers are created equal either. And to your point, she obviously doesn't have a ton of liquid funds to put towards stuff. If she did, listen, if I'm starting a business, if I'm able to match you where you're starting with 50, I would say, Amanda, you know what? We're really going to be 50-50. Here's my 25. Here's your 25. I want my name on the bank account. So it leads me to believe that Ginny doesn't have a lot of funds to put up, which may mean that she had to retain counsel looking for a splashy headline. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of ways this could go. I get it.
Yeah,
yes,
I agree. Okay, well, I have to end our conversation because I have to go drive kids, which is my other job, it feels like lately. But I did want to just say, you guys, thank you so much for listening. We know things can change, but we know that you guys have been showing up for us because we can see the numbers. We know that you guys have been showing up, even though B was not able to use the biggest promotion tool to promote this, all the different podcasts this week. So just wanted to say thank you. And if you are enjoying this, please do, click those 3 little dots and share it with friends, because, as we continue to grow, hopefully we can have more time that we're not having to drive kids and that we can do more deep dives like this, because I love it.
Amanda, that's never going to happen. Amanda, that is the most wishful thinking thing I've ever heard, but thank you for that. Glimmer of hope. You guys are the best. I appreciate you. Please follow at Cocktails and Gossip. Check out bravoandcocktails.com. My hope is this time next week, Bravo and Cocktails _ is back, but we know how fickle Instagram is. You could also find me at Twitter, Bravo N, the letter N, Cocktails.
Thanks, guys.
You guys are the best. Till next time.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends, but only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at bravoandcocktails_. And check out the website, because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.